Does listening to Fife for Fighting make you cry? Can you really walk 500 miles? And what does it really mean to bite the dust? Tonight we're going to talk about music. More specifically, what is music? And more provocatively, does AI make music? Let's dive in. All right. Hello and welcome. Okay. So I'm just going to say this to preface. We started doing this episode like 25 minutes ago, and we got 20 minutes into the live stream before I realized that we weren't streaming. So
technical difficulties.
So welcome. That's great. At least we had really great practice. So, and I will say that's not as bad as last week's episode when I did the entire episode and only half of it like actually worked. And so I had to redo the entire episode the next day.
That's the worst.
I am still learning OBS. I'm learning how to use it, how to get the hang of it. It's just a lot, but I'll get there. Anyway, welcome to the 20th episode of Adam Answers Anything. It's Wednesday, November 19th, and it is, again, the 20th episode. Yes! Which means that I have managed to accomplish making 20 episodes of something, which is so exciting.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. And to celebrate that episode milestone, I have invited our favorite guest, Nate. You recognize Nate if you've listened to For the Love of It or watched For the Love of It or The Nightmare Nugget. He's been around. He even did a YouTube video on contentment, which was a really great video. Go check that one out on the YouTube channel. But if you've been around the channel, you know this guy. You know he's awesome. And I'm excited that he's here tonight to talk about the topic, music, that we're going to be talking about tonight. Two quick things before I dive in. First quick thing I'm going to say is you're going to see a QR code right up there of your screen. Please scan that QR code. This QR code is going to take you to a form you can fill out where you can ask a question, any question, and Adam will answer it.
Any question.
Any question. You can even ask, how to make the perfect sandwich, and I'll do my best to answer the question. You can also submit whether or not you would like to be on the show. If you want to be on the show, you are 100% welcome.
It's a great time.
I would love to have you on the show. I would love to have you on the show to help wrestle through your question together, whatever the question might be. Maybe there's a question that you're really passionate about. Maybe you're really passionate about VHS tapes. Awesome. Let's talk about that. I would love to have you on the show. So please scan that QR code, fill out the form, and I would love to hear from you. Also, I'd love to hear your perspective on the episode. Any questions from any episode, I would love to hear what your perspective is. So leave a note down in the comments or leave something over in the live chat. I would love to hear what you have to say. What are your thoughts on the question? I'm just one guy. Well, no, there's two guys. But I'm just one guy who has a perspective. And that perspective is probably wrong most of the time. But what is your perspective? I would love to hear what your perspective is. And please, if you like the video or you like the podcast, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. It just really helps. Just saying. Don't tell anyone I told you that, though. So I'm really excited for tonight because we actually have our first user, or our first viewer, I should say, submitted question.
Nice.
Someone has scanned the QR code.
And it's a good question.
And I am so proud of this person for doing so. Our question for tonight, submitted by David S., is what is music and does AI make music? Those are some heavy cans right there. Those are like cans of worms right there that are heavy.
But we're going to crack them open.
We're going to crack them open. I'm excited to talk about tonight what is music. The first thing that we're going to do, which is the first thing that, I always do when I have an episode, is I try to define what it is that we're talking about. So let's start with just the basic of what is music. So let's try and define music first before we maybe talk about it, and especially before we talk about is AI music. Well, there's several standard definitions. What I mean by standard is like philosophy, right? Some old guys with beards got into a room and just like thought about stuff. Yep. Some of them wrote a book. That's like philosophy in a nutshell. Just like old guys thinking about things. Well, there's kind of four general standard definitions about music. The first is formalist view, which is by Gerald Levinson, which argues that music is primarily about form, about structure, about harmony, and about patterns. So he would argue that it's indifferent towards emotion or any sort of meaning. None of that, but really at its raw form, music is just patterns, harmony, structure, and all those things. Expressionists like Susan Langer would argue literally the opposite. She would say, no. Music is fundamentally about conveying and arousing emotions. That's really what it's about. Right?
All
Structure,
emotional.
all emotions. Structure can be whatever. Right? It could be just a bunch of random tones, but
Sounds like a hippie.
if it conveys emotion, then it's music. Intentionalists would emphasize that, well, as long as there's a purpose to it, right? If some baby got on the piano and was like, "Ba, ba, 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 ba," but there was purpose to it, and the baby had in mind what it wanted to convey, well, then it's music. And if if Debussy got on the piano and plays Clair de Lune, well, obviously he has an intention behind the song and a purpose, so therefore it's music. So it's the intention that determines whether or not something's music. Well, then there's the contextualists and the cultural theorists, which, kind of self-explanatory. It's culturally relativistic, right? We can't really define music universally. There is no universal definition because it differs from society to society, from culture to culture. Everyone has their different traditions and practices about what is good or what is bad music or what is music to begin with. What's interesting about these formal definitions is that they're all kind of right in the sense that it's almost like they're all grasping at the same string, and there's just none of them is pulling all of them. They're just pulling one string of this giant ball of strings.
I picture it as a bit of a pyramid, right? And the top block is what it really is, and then underneath is all these reasons, right?
Right.
And
yeah. Or it's like a giant jellyfish, and we're just everyone's pulling on the tentacles.
Pop the legs off.
Yeah. So one of the things we did was, or one of the things you did was, you went and you asked AI, because we're talking about AI in this episode, what its thoughts were on music. Yeah,
I wanted to get an AI's perspective, since AI is the trend these days. So ChatGPT said music is organized sound created or arranged to express ideas, emotions, or experiences. It usually involves elements like pitch, rhythm, melody, harmony, and dynamics. Music appears in every known human culture and serves many purposes: communication, art, ritual, entertainment, storytelling, and emotional expression. It can be created with instruments, the human voice, or electronic tools. So that's what ChatGPT had to say about music. I also looked at Google AI, and this definition was a little different. But let's see, it says, music is a purposeful organization of sound, often combining elements like melody, harmony, and rhythm to create art, communicate, and express emotion. While a single definition is difficult, it is broadly understood as a human-made art form that can be a universal language, a form of entertainment, or a tool for ritual and communication. The perception of what is music can be subjective, as the distinction between music and noise can vary based on cultural and personal opinions. So that is more spot on to me.
Of the two definitions, I would say that I like Gemini's more. What's interesting,
might be a little more vague, but it's
I feel like it's well written.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because Gemini 3 just came out like 2 days ago. Yeah. So it's probably Gemini 3 responding to that, which is kind of tells like, oh, it's a better model than ChatGPT. Yeah, it's been waiting for this question. But I really liked how it answered the question.
And it was good.
It kind of gives credence to what we were saying, that all of those standard definitions are kind of just like grasping at the same thing.
Yeah. And that would be in my pyramid example, the top would be that it's art, right? It's an art form, and everything below it is just things that describe that art, because it can't be summed up as one specific thing.
Right. So you're talking about music as art. So what would your like personal approach be to the question, like, what is music?
Yeah. So for me, the definition of music is just that it relates to your own experience with it.
Mhm.
So, music could have pulled you from a hard time. It could have,
Mhm.
been something critical in your life that without it you would have maybe sunk into a depression or something.
Yeah.
Or it could have been something that you always grew up with, right? And playing
Right.
instruments and a happy thing, a very like light thing, and you just spend all of your time investing in that, and then some could be not a part of your life at all.
Right.
And you just never grew up with it, never learned any instruments, never really invested much time in it. You hear it on the radio, but nothing beyond that.
Mhm.
And so that's where my personal definition, I guess personally it would be, I love music. I'm constantly listening to music.
Mhm.
So music is a passion of mine. I did play for a little while, but time is short these days, so I
Yeah.
don't play all the time anymore. But
Yeah. But like you said, music is a very personal thing.
it's a very personal thing, and so
Mhm.
the definition is going to vary from person to person.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I agree that someone's interaction with music throughout their life, like you said, some people really love music. Some people really don't.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know anyone that doesn't like music, but I know that they exist.
yeah, I don't know if I know anyone who like actually opposes it, but
Right.
just doesn't have much of an interest in it.
Right.
It's kind of like when dancers say the 2 left feet.
Mhm.
Some people are like, yeah, I just never had an ear for music.
Right. Right. And that's okay. It might be the case that they have an ear or an eye for a different art form.
Right.
It just might not be music.
Right.
I like the definition of kind of saying that well, the music is an art.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's a form of art. And I would say that music is, or that maybe the way that I would define music would be as language.
Mm-hmm.
That just as we speak and convey meaning through structure and syntax of words, we also convey meaning through the structure and organization of notes or tones.
Yeah, it's
And
a universal language.
It's
right?
a universal
and
language.
It transcends
Yeah.
languages.
And the
other
thing
languages.
about language is when I say a sentence, like if I was to try and convey to you that I'm sad, I would say, well, Nate, I'm sad. You would understand what I'm saying. Like you would understand that I'm sad, but the thing that I have told you doesn't make you sad.
Right.
Because language, again, we're going to set poetry aside. We're just going to
Mm-hmm.
put that aside for a minute. But language is more just analytical, more just directive than it is emotional, or it is music, or it is artful. Language is just like a utility to convey meaning, essentially.
Right.
And so when I tell you that I'm sad, you understand what I'm saying, but like it doesn't make you sad by me conveying to you that I'm sad.
Right.
Now, if you are empathic, or if you have high empathy, then you're able to share in that expression of how I feel. So like you'll begin to feel sad by the fact that I feel sad.
Put myself in your shoes and actually
Right.
physically feel that.
And that's how empaths work. But it has nothing to do with my language. It's like me telling you that I'm sad doesn't suddenly make you sad. If you're an empath, well, it's because you're experiencing my emotions with me. And so I think that's what differentiates language from music. Music is a language that speaks in the form of emotions. So like language uses words and syntax, and music is a form of art that speaks with emotion. And I would say that this definition applies to art in general, just all art in general.
Overall
of them. And this would be very similar to the definition that Tolstoy provides about what art is. See our episode from a couple weeks ago where I actually talked about the question, what is art? And we talked about Tolstoy and how he would define it. And he would define it this way, that it's the communication of emotion. And emotion is the language of art. It's the language of music. And so I could use expressive words to try and convey to you that I'm depressed or I'm sad. It's like, oh, Nate, I'm so forlorn. My nihilism has crept up and has choked out the living light of my heart, and I live in daily angst at the existential, absurdity of life, right? I could say that.
Yeah.
It would give you a lot more, like, context, and it'd give you a lot more detail.
I would have a better understanding of the state of your mind.
Right. You would have a better understanding of the kind of sadness
Right.
that I have, because the beautiful thing about language is it allows you to describe things in such vivid detail.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's mostly just descriptive, analog, kind of directive, just it's just kind of me describing something.
Right.
Whereas if I really wanted you to understand that I'm sad, I would play for you a really sad song, or I'd write a really sad song. In fact, I've done that before. A couple years ago, or not a couple, it was a while ago now, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I wrote a song.
Yeah.
And it's a really sad and depressing song.
Oh, no.
Well, it's because I was really sad at that time of my life. And when you listen to the song, you might feel sad. You might understand the sadness in a way that my language couldn't convey it to you, because now you're feeling it through the song.
Right. Right.
And so that's what I would say would be my working definition for music.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. I think it's important because you when you make a song, you have, like, it's almost aids your words, right? So you have words, but then on top of it you have the melody, the music behind it that can convey what, the limitation of your words are.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can play a track. Like, I've heard some really, really beautiful piano tracks, and they capture an emotion. Like, I've seriously had moments where I'm like, I need to put this in an AI or something and say, find me more tracks like this.
Right,
because this is an emotion that I want to, I want to stay in this. I want to stay in this feeling for a minute. And they're always little tiny 30-second little, like, clips or something. But so just the music, the tones, the combination of, strings and things like that alone can make you feel emotion, and then add in your lyrics to that, sad or happy or whatever they may be. You're just elevating that song even more.
Right.
So that's what makes music so powerful.
Yeah. And it's incredible how visceral music can bring memory into your life. Like, it's very powerful how I could listen to a song like, a song by Boys Like Girls or Green Day or Yellow Card, and I can listen to any of those bands and I'll feel what it felt like to be a teenager again. It's incredible how visceral the memory of music is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember, like, listening to this song when I was in Pennsylvania. It was when I was living in Lansdale, Pennsylvania, and this was 2013 maybe, or no, not 2013. It was well before that. I had been 2011. I don't remember, but it was Justin Bieber came out with his song "Baby" or "Baby Baby." I don't remember the name of the song, but it was like his first song that he became really popular with.
Blew up on. Yeah.
And I was like, I wanted to give it a listen. I just want to see what this is about. So I put it on my MP3 player and I went for a jog, and I remember just the listening to the music, and when I listen to it today, I can feel the humidity in the air that night that I went for a jog. I can see the thousands of fireflies in the field lighting up all at the same time.
Yep.
It's almost like I could feel that I'm there again, because even though that was probably like the last time I ever listened to this song.
Sure.
And I don't want to, like, throw shade at Justin Bieber. Like, he's made some pretty good music, but I even though I didn't really listen to his song a lot after that, it's such a visceral memory to me.
Yeah.
That whenever I listen to it now, it literally feels like I'm there again.
Right. And that's another, there's one small point in there is that, you're not throwing shade because it's an art. So if I go to an art museum and I look at abstract art, it's still art.
Right.
And it's still beautiful.
Yeah.
Even if I don't like it. Because there are a million other people out there who do like it. Or vice versa. Right. So that's what makes music so dynamic and diverse, and that's what makes the definition so hard, right? You can clang metal pans together and record it and put, a couple other sounds in there and say, oh, I've made a song. And to maybe a majority of the world, they'd say, well, that's not a song.
Right,
That's
right.
just you clanging pans. But then
Right.
there are going to be some people who's like, oh, this is my favorite song. I
Mhm.
love the song.
Mhm.
So it's always a little differentiation in there.
Right.
Like music doesn't really have a solid definition,
Yeah.
which is the difficult thing, right? And it's
Yeah.
always subjective.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, even language, like when I'm speaking with words, even the meaning of a sentence can have, difference in depending on the context.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
It's
especially cultural context.
if you were to compare music to, I guess, like word structure,
Mhm.
it'd be the same as if you said a sentence like 3 different ways. So you can
Mhm.
say something, like the way that you say something can determine how it's received, right? So if you say something in a happy tone, people are going to be like, oh, that reflects like your mood. But if you say it in a sarcastic tone, they're going to think, maybe there's something behind that, right? So that's how I compare it in my mind is music has a bunch of hidden emotion in it that can't be expressed with words.
Right.
And the closest you can get with words is just how you say those words.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so
I agree. The closest you can get is just how you say them
right.
with the words. But things like art and music
Mm-hmm.
are more, I would say, like more expressive at the fundamental meaning of emotional meaning of things.
Yeah.
There's this song. It's a modern song, so I guess you could say it's modern art.
Sure.
It's 433 by John Cage. And
I've heard that
what it is it's a 1952 musical composition where the performers are instructed not to play their instruments. So you could have a stage and there could be a big piano, Steinway piano, and someone sitting at the piano and maybe a string quartet. And the entire point of the piece is to sit there in silence. So no one even plays their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. And it's divided into 3 movements.
Okay.
And what's interesting about it is I think this is a really good kind of thing to talk about. And go look it up if you've never seen this. There's like videos of people performing this where they're just sitting there for 4 minutes and 33 seconds.
What's the goal of it though?
So the goal is, I guess, kind of like the abstract is that the ambient sounds of the environment are the music.
Okay. This was done with an audience?
And and I'll say this, in a way, I get what he's getting at, because I do think that this interplays with our definition in some degree.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do this all the time when I'm working. I'll listen to ambient music playlists.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When I'm working, I can't really listen to like lyrical music because it just gets me distracted, and so I'll listen to atmospheric, ambient, like vapor wave, kind of like chill wave.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes like just classic lo-fi girl, I'll listen to that sometimes.
Yep.
But sometimes it's these like liminal, like literally just liminal space ambient music, which is a thing. It's a whole genre.
Oh yeah.
And it's beautiful listening to these things, this kind of music, because it's not, I don't want to say it's not complex, but there's not a lot going on.
No.
Like, it's a lot of Pauline stretches, which is where you like take regular music and just stretch it out really long. It's a lot of that, and it's a lot of just like one tone. It's very slow.
Sure.
But it conveys the same, if not more powerful emotions. And it's interesting.
To a place.
It does. It's interesting because I'll listen to these playlists. There's some of them where it's just a playlist of music that's like supposed to be nostalgic.
Sure.
And I've never heard these songs before, but as I'm listening to them, I just feel like a kid again. Like I feel like I miss my childhood again. And it's crazy because I've never heard the song before, but like it makes me understand and miss my childhood. And I think that there's something to be said of context that music is placed in that is a part of conveying the emotion. What I mean by is this: when I'm listening to those that music, I see a video that's an hour long and it says nostalgia on it, and it has a picture of like a playground or like an abandoned like Chuck E. Cheese, or maybe there's like, it's like the inside of one of those old Kmart's where they had like McDonald's, or old store, or old Walmart's where they had McDonald's inside of them. Like, it's a picture like that, nostalgic images. Those are like, that's the context that helps drive the music.
Right.
And so 433 by John Cage, I can understand if you're someone who regularly goes to events where it's live music, and you're regularly going to a concert hall to listen to music, and maybe this is like the seventh or eighth concert that you've been to in just just the past year, and you've heard Hans Zimmer, you've heard John Williams, you've heard Tchaikovsky, you've heard Chopin, you've heard all of them in this concert hall, but then you come to this concert hall in this specific performance, and they just sit there in complete silence. I bet that would mean something to you. And the reason why is because the concert hall itself is context. Even though it's just silent, there's still a context that carries with it a meaning. And one of the purposes of the song, I suppose, I say song, but like one of the purposes of this piece is to draw your attention to the context, which adds meaning to the music that you're listening to. So I guess I could say this, like if I was listening to any of those ambient songs, those atmospheric songs, and there was no image, no text, no context given, I wouldn't know how I was supposed to feel about it.
Right.
Because there's other playlists that I listen to, and they're deep sci-fi ambience, which has a totally different context, because it's images about, it's like these big landscape sci-fi images, and it makes you feel, when you listen to the songs, you kind of feel like the universe is massive and huge and big, and you're just kind of floating in it. That's how you feel.
I mean, it kind of is, but
a lot of that has to do with context too.
Yeah.
Not just the song itself.
But you get the feeling from it. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And so I would say that even though that piece sounds like 433 by Jones, 4 minutes and 33 seconds of silence, I think it does play into our definition a bit. Because number one, music is art, and a part of art is also the context, right? Because conveying the emotion of sadness through a painting will look different than conveying the emotion of sadness through music,
right,
or through dance.
I think it's also, it's one of those social experiments that's meant to push your mind, because I think of the experiments that they do with like today's kids versus like iPad kids versus kids who had just like blocks growing up.
Right.
You know, kids that just had blocks, they were forced to have a big imagination, because all you have is a piece of wood, painted piece of wood, right? But you had kids picturing them as superheroes or a tower, or like they had, they physically saw that in their mind, right? And that's what they saw. And so, but then you see these iPad kids who are given everything, all this stimulation constantly, and it almost dulls your mind. And so in that same way, I picture this experiment as being, okay, you listen to music all the time. You're in a music hall that is always has music playing. We're going to do something different, and we're going to force you to basically hear the music without the music, right? So whether it be the ambience of the room, or it be that, in silence, your mind goes to playing another concert song that you heard, right? And so you're walking, you're sitting in a room where you're like, I'm hearing music, but I'm not hearing music, right?
Exactly.
And so it pushes your mind to go to that place and pull on like things that it's been already exposed
like personal
to.
context. Exactly. And I think this plays into one of my most, not my most recent YouTube video on the channel, but it's the video on the channel it's the second video on time. I think the name of the video is how to stare at a clock. Like I stare at a clock for an hour or a day. in that video, I talk about Plato's perspective on time and how like time is just like a temporal perspective on the eternality of time.
Sure,
Well,
sure.
those when you're in the concert hall and you're sitting there in silence, you're experiencing a space in which music has lived and will live.
Mm-hmm.
And this has a lot to do with your metaphysics. And so I'm certainly more of a dualist when it comes to metaphysics. There's immaterial and there's the material.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the things that I argue in the video is that memories are an immaterial thing that have no bounding by time. Like the immaterial aspect of a moment,
Sure.
like this moment that we're sharing right now.
Yeah.
The context of this, the meaning of this, right? Because there's the physical aspect of this, which is like we're physical dudes, right? We have mics and everything. That's the physical part of this.
Nice plant.
But there's a nice fake plant. But this is all. There's also the immaterial part of what this is.
Yeah.
That could be like emotion. That could be like a memory.
Right.
Also, like our immaterial aspects of us, like being in fellowship right now.
Yeah.
That part exists not bound by time. So it exists just
right.
like it always has existed, will exist, and does exist all at the same exact time because it's in a place where there is no time which binds it, which means that when I'm sitting somewhere like in silence, but it's a place that has had noise, that there's been people that have been lively in it, like people attending a concert and music being played, I would argue, my argument would be that those things which have occurred still exist immaterially in that place. Because the physical world is just a succession of moments, just like a movie is a succession of frames. The physical world is a succession of moments, and each moment is a snapshot through the immaterial realm, or through the eternal realm, as Plato would call it. And I think that music is a way of comprehending that eternal realm. Okay, we'll use Plato's term. I think it's a way of us comprehending that eternal realm in a way that language can't suffice to do it. In so much that just sitting in silence in a concert hall can help evoke a comprehension of the eternal realm just based on the context alone.
Right.
Like you were saying, personal context.
Yeah.
So I hope that was probably super confusing.
That was a deep dive.
That was that just came out of
dive.
nowhere. I am so sorry. Also, I'm sorry if it made no sense.
No,
sometimes
it
I
did.
confuse myself.
It did. I was just like, we're going deep with this one.
The way, like, and this is how Plato envisioned it, and I think this is really useful, is if you imagine the eternal realm, so the metaphysical realm, as just an endless ocean. He believed the universe was eternal. It's not. Obviously, we know that's not true, but if you think of the metaphysical realm as just completely endless, and then our physical world as a boat, right? And that boat is in different parts of that ocean at any point in time, but the boat's the only thing that's bound by time. And so as we experience every single moment of our lives, we're experiencing one frame of a movie in the eternal realm, in the infinite realm. And so when we experience, like I used to do this a lot actually when I worked as a security officer, night shift at my college. I would do my patrols around campus, and I would go to the large student auditorium. And sometimes I would just go on stage and like play the piano like I'm in a concert.
Yeah, right.
Or I would stand on stage and give a lecture like I'm like giving a TED Talk or something that.
Right.
And the strange part about those moments that I would experience is I felt like it was a strange feeling, as though there's people there. Like it didn't feel like an empty space, even though there was nobody there.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like any paranormal stuff, but
Are you okay?
I'm okay. But it felt like I could feel that there had been people there, that there will be people there.
Right.
And that's because I believe that the memories which exist in spaces, although physically leave spaces, they're eternally bound by them. So that's kind of like, I don't know where that came from. Sorry.
Very deep.
But that kind of leads me into the next like discussion, which is the ontology of music. The word ontology just means like the being of something. So like, what does it mean to be human? Like, what does it mean to be a sandwich? Is music, so this is kind of like centering around the ontology of music, is
Yeah.
music a particular thing? Meaning, is it something that I create? Like if I write a song, did I create the song?
Hmm.
Or is music an abstract thing that's actually discovered?
It's a very good question.
What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, say that again, just so I get this right.
Is music a particular physical thing that I
Okay.
create?
Okay.
Right? So like I created it.
Yep.
Or is music an abstract thing that's actually discovered and written down?
I think it's discovered.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the way I guess I think of it in my mind is take an instrument, right?
Mhm.
There's a million different sounds you can make with any given instrument.
Right.
Even with a guitar, whether it be on the strings or slapping it like a beatbox, like some guitarists do. But that doesn't take away from, that is not exclusive to you. So you are not the only one who can make that noise on that instrument.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone could have made that noise, which means that noise exists with that instrument
Right.
anywhere and any time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So but it's not until somebody makes that noise that we hear it and we see it, we understand it. So I think it's more discovered because I actually think there is a limited amount of combinations of different noises that you can make. I mean, if you think about it, everyone in the world doesn't make music. I guess there are all the different countries in the world. They have endless different bands, right? But you could probably pick a lot of songs that sounded really similar, right? So I think it's limited in that way, but I think it's very discovered and not so much created.
Yeah,
That's just my personal opinion.
No, I like what you had to say because like it made me think of this website called Library of Babel, and so the Library of what it is essentially everything that has ever been written. In short, it's just like any other library.
Okay.
If completed, it would contain every possible combination of every possible characters in every possible language and in every possible time. It contains all possible pages of all books that could ever be possibly written. So like the sentence that I'm saying right now is in the Library of Babel. And so it's a website that you can go to where like you can search, like I can go here and like
It's actually almost a little creepy.
It is kind of creepy. Like I can go there and search and just like find it. Oh, there it is. And I don't know exactly how it works. Like I won't get into the details just because like I just thought of the website. You should go check it out. Library of Babel. It's very interesting. But it's kind of similar to what you're saying. Like if you have an instrument, well, any combination of tones that could be possibly played. Like, well, they could be played.
Right.
And so it's just a matter of you discovering that exact combination that really already exists.
Right.
You're just kind of discovering it and like just playing it, but it was already there. Just like in the Library of Babel,
Sure.
every single sentence and combination of words that could ever exist is there.
You
just have to index it and find it.
Right.
And so it's very similar.
And in that way, I mean, to me, it's discovery. It's not creation, right?
Yeah.
If I discover a new land or an island or something, I don't say that I created this island.
Right.
I just found it. It was already here.
Right.
But I'm the first one to find it.
Right.
That's it. So
yeah,
that's kind of my
I'd
take on
agree.
it. Yeah.
I'd say that music is an abstract thing that we discover.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons I would say that is John 1:1-3. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him, all things were made. Without him, nothing was made that has been made. Sure, you could argue, like, what exactly does that mean? But I do think that you could make the argument that, well, that means that every song that has been written, is being written, or will be written has already been. Because all things were made through him. I notice that it says all things were made. Not all things are being made.
Right. They
but
already
all things were made. And so my argument would be this, that yes, you are discovering something. And it's because when God spoke the universe into existence, everything that could possibly exist already does.
Mm.
And the physical life and world that we have and that we live is again, this goes back to what the random deep dive. Every single moment is a physical manifestation of the creative act of God.
Mm.
God spoke into existence all things, the Alpha and the Omega. He spoke into existence all things. And the lives that we currently live in this physical world that's bound by time, every single moment is just bringing that creation into physical being, moment by moment by moment by moment.
Right.
And so music would be a part of that. Like every song that could be possibly written, like, well, it's going to be written. And there's probably songs, I don't know, maybe there are songs that, in fact, I would argue that there are songs that will never be written but do exist.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we get to heaven, we'll hear music that we'll never have heard before, but it's not music
I think when we get to heaven, we're going to hear music
that can't exist here.
That, you'll never hear here, and you'll never, I think it's going to be music that you won't even be able to comprehend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that emotion, so like emotion, again, we talked about how emotion, like music is the language of emotion. I guess it's better to say that art is the language of emotion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when we use music to express an emotion, well, it's because that emotion, that part of us, has already existed. Like it already exists. It's currently existing. And so it's more like we're discovering a certain depth about what it means to be us in a specific moment that has already and always existed.
Yeah, I mean, whether you create that song yourself or you hear it, somebody else created it, right? It's a reflection of something that was already a feeling inside you. You just didn't have access to it until that moment, right?
Yeah,
and the
for sure.
door opens and you're like, oh, this is weird. I didn't expect to.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever cried at music?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah. But have you ever expected, like, you go and you listen to a song and you're like, I'm going to cry at this song? Or is it like, I don't know why I'm crying at this song, but like this combination of words, lyrics, and tones is like literally bringing such a powerful emotion that I'm like, it's like bringing me to tears. This is weird, right? But you don't understand why.
And there was oh man, when was this? I think this was actually about a year ago. I took my wife to a show in downtown Detroit. It was one of those candlelit concerts. It was a candlelit concert at like a Masonic temple church thing.
Yeah, was it the DSO or something?
No, it wasn't the DSO. It was like a string quartet. And there were, I mean, like hundreds of candles. There were the electric ones.
They advertise for something like that right now.
It was beautiful. That? Yes, it was that.
Yeah, I've seen so many advertisements.
I took her to the one because I saw that they were doing a show in a Masonic temple with all these hundreds of candles, Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
and
course.
I thought,
gotta go to
Lord of the Rings string quartet, yes, please sign. So I bought a ticket, and I said we're going to go on a date. So we get there, and we sit down. And they start playing the music, and I didn't expect it, but I bawled my eyes out when they played. Which was it? When they played Rohan, it was Rohan's motif. And they played the song that is played when King Theoden is standing at the grave of his son, and he says, no parent should ever have to bury their child, or something to that effect.
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly what he said.
Yeah.
I bawled my eyes out. To this day, I have seen The Lord of the Rings, no joke, probably 20, 30, 40 times.
Well, I was going to ask, when you watch it on the screen, are you bawling at that moment?
I don't bawl my eyes out, but I cry every single time I see that scene. Every single time.
Yeah.
But when they were playing the music, the resonance in the hall, because it's just so, like, the reverb in that giant hall was amazing. Of course. I was just sitting there weeping, and there were these like young couple sitting next to us, and I'm pretty sure they looked over at me and were like weirded out by like,
what are you doing, man?
How like intensely I was bawling my eyes out
so
for like
funny.
3 songs straight.
That's
because
hilarious.
Like music has such intense meaning. And I think this is just another theory that we could probably get rabbit trailed in, but I think that the reason why people experience music differently is because some people have, some people are more emotionally affluent than other people. And it's not that people don't have emotions. It's
Just
that,
who drives the bus, right? The
Yeah.
emotions or the logic, and
right.
it depends on which one's the driver.
Some people are good at really speaking words. Some
Yep.
people are really good at speaking emotions
Mm-hmm.
and being connected with that depth part of what it means to be human.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of leads me into like another interesting question is, because I hear this a lot. Sometimes I'll see YouTube videos about it, like music that can heal, right? Like there's a certain there's frequencies, and it's like 432 hertz. Listen to this song,
hertz.
it's like 528 hertz.
It goes beyond that.
I mean, like listen to this, it's the cosmic harmony tone.
Yeah,
Our bodies and the earth have frequencies, and all we have to do is like listen to this music.
Match that frequency.
It resets our frequency so that it matches that of the earth. So I'll say this. People that have those perspectives and are like really into like crystals can like harmonize your soul or something like that. I love them. I am not trying to make fun of them.
Sure.
I love those people. I would love to talk to you about Jesus.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm making assumptions. You can believe that stuff and also know Jesus. I shouldn't say that, but most of the people that I know that believe that, I'd love for them to know Jesus. Yeah. But what I'll say is this: there's no evidence that any of that at all is true, even remotely. Like that, there's no evidence that music can like actually physically heal you. It can relax you. For sure.
I did.
It can.
Did you look into that one study about cancer though? There was one study, not one study. I mean, I think there was a couple studies, but one guy invented some machine that could kill cancer with a certain frequency treatment or something.
Again, there's no
conclusive evidence on that.
I mean,
it's because the government got
so
rid
that
of
would
them.
be like vibrations, like whole body vibrations. They can improve muscle strength.
Because they use vibrations to break up stones.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then like vibroacoustic therapy delivers like low frequency vibrations. It helps with like muscle tension, like reducing pain and stuff like that. Even like I would say that like it can help stimulate repair, but it doesn't actually like repair anything.
Yeah.
Like there, I'm just saying that there's no scientific studies that there is like a cosmic harmony frequency that like we have to attune to.
Yeah. No. I mean, I don't buy into that as much.
But there are studies about how music affects the brain, because stress affects the which one was it? The sympathetic or the parasympathetic? Now I don't know. It was the sympathetic nervous system. That's fight or flight. That's your fight or flight. Yep. That's what stress activates. Well, calming music activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest. So music can stimulate lower heart rate, lower blood pressure, reduce muscle tension, deeper, slower breathing. So it can reduce stress. That's why when you get like a full body massage by a massage therapist, they usually have these like
very calming
music,
very
like
classical,
relaxing tones on. And there is certainly evidence to show that like our brain waves, there's alpha, beta, gamma, theta, or delta, theta waves, right? Our brains have certain waves, and certain music can stimulate certain brain waves. Well, certain types of relaxing music stimulates your theta brain waves, which is associated with relaxation.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think it's a combination of things. So if you're sick and you're like, oh, I'm going to use vibrations or noise to heal myself. I don't think physically it's not going to piece your body back together, but I do think, using music, I guess if there is a vibration treatment, whatever, use it. But I think, it's not just one thing fixes everything. Music on top of, a treatment or something like that is going to help, because it's going to keep your mind, your brain is a really powerful thing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the chemicals it can release can make you feel so happy or so sad. I mean, it's just crazy, and it can make you sick or make you better. And if music can help dictate that,
Right.
then I think indirectly it can be a healing thing.
Yeah.
But
And I think a lot of that has to do with suggestibility too. Like
right.
when I was in college, when I was in college, there was these things called iDozer, and there was like these files that you could download, and supposedly it would use what's called binaural audio, and they could simulate like certain experiences. Like you would download a file that was supposed to simulate being drunk, or simulate alcohol, or simulate marijuana.
Okay.
Or you could download some that would simulate like LSD or
Sure.
like it's like intense stuff. And then you can download some that like are supposed to simulate like what it feels like to fall in love.
Oh.
And the way that binaural audio works, and this is kind of a proven thing. I guess I should say kind of like this is a studied thing, that you introduce two slightly different tones into both ears. So you have one tone in your left ear and a slightly different tone in your right ear. And the way it's supposed to work is that it produces a third different tone in your brain when you listen to it.
Okay.
And that tone is supposed to be associated with, like, the experience of being drunk. Well, I used to listen to this. I used to do this stuff all the time. Well, the truth is, music can't actually make you drunk. It can't make you high, or it can't. None of this actually.
You don't walk away from it like stumbling around.
No, it's just not how it works. At the end of the day, like, it can really only stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system, and so it can release dopamine and serotonin. It's really like its limit, but there is the power of suggestibility. So, like, if I am listening to some iDozer or some binaural audio, and it's supposed to simulate falling in love, and I have convinced myself that it's going to do such a thing, well, of course. Like, when you're relaxed and not stressed, like, you could believe that, like, you're going to experience something like that, and you will.
Yeah.
And so I would say that was more so my experience with those kinds of things. But at the end of the day, like, I think it's the power of suggestibility. And music is a similar thing, where there's like suggestible elements to it, where, like, if I'm listening to a song and I'm like convinced that it's the greatest song in the world, then of course, like, it's going to like sound so much more amazing than I really think it is.
Yeah.
I remember there's this artist. I don't remember the name of the artist. I could probably look him up, but it was this artist who created an album, like a CD album, and every track on the album represented a different stage of Alzheimer's.
Oh wow.
And I would recommend going on YouTube and looking up YouTube videos about this instead of just listening to the album. It is haunting, terrifying, but like so beautiful at the same time.
Very interesting, I'm sure.
Very, very interesting. I would recommend going on YouTube and look up videos about it, because it starts off with like wonderful, just like kind of normal, peaceful music. And then it slowly disintegrates into something that sounds like it's 3 rooms away. And then it just kind of gets quieter. But then suddenly there's a track where everything sounds like great.
Oh, wow.
But then
like
the next
symbolizing
track,
he has a
symbolizing
brief
like,
moment
a brief moment of clarity.
And
then the next minute it's like completely gone.
Completely empty.
And that's like so devastating to listen to, because
freaky.
Like, and I think this is a perfect example of what we're talking about here about music, is that it is the expression of emotion. You understand Alzheimer's so like in such a better, deeper, more fundamental way by listening to that album than you would by listening to someone talk about it. Like if someone's just giving you a definition of it, like if you learn about it in school,
right?
Listening to the album will give you like such an,
because you can't experience you can't experience that feeling by just learning about it, right? Where
again, because language is mostly just informative,
right? And it's limited. Music gives you the best chance of having a glimpse of what is going on inside somebody's mind who's going through that. Right. And it's a perfect segue to show people like, a normal mind is like this beautiful song that's playing all the time, and everything's jiving, and then all of a sudden it's quiet. It's getting quieter and quieter and quieter, and it's like, oh, it's a little scary.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is kind of a segue into our last question for the night.
Yeah.
Is AI music? Like if I go to Suno, or there's suno.ai, or there's Udio, those are two websites you can go to,
Mm-hmm.
and you could say, make me a country song about an apple, and it'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
Is what AI produces, is it music? And I guess, in essence, because of our conversation tonight, in essence, we're asking, is it art?
I think a better question would be to ask if it's original.
Mm-hmm.
Is it original? Because
what do we mean by original?
Because music is, I mean, all of the tones and sounds have been discovered, right? But the order that you put them in is not going to be the order that I put them in.
Mm-hmm.
And thus, we're going to create two original tracks,
Right?
because there's probably never going to be somebody we run into that has put those in that same order exactly, in that same duration, in that same way. But I feel like AI just takes what's out there, pieces it all together, and says, okay, here you go. Like, I don't know if there's any originality to that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there? What do you think?
I would say it depends on what we mean by originality. Because if I have a set of 50 Legos and I have built a bridge out of those Legos,
Mm-hmm.
and then I take it all apart and I say, you build a bridge, and it builds a bridge, but it looks different. You could argue, well, that's original because it's a different arrangement of
True.
the Legos. Well, AI is trained on just millions and millions of data points, so it's like, thousands and thousands of songs, perhaps. I don't know how many songs it's trained on, but it's trained on all of these songs. And essentially what it's doing is it's just taking bits and pieces of every single song that's ever heard to make a new bridge out of Legos. So in that sense, you could theoretically argue that it's original. My argument actually would center around, is it informative? And what I mean by that is, because remember we were talking about music in the sense that music is the language of emotion, and it conveys something that words cannot convey. And not just that, but context is what either amplifies or reduces that meaning. Right? So like if it's in the right context, not just the song conveying that emotion, but the context can actually add even more depth to that emotion. I would say that I could, like, if I had no idea that a song was generated by AI, I would say that there's a chance that it could fool me into experiencing a certain emotion.
Sure.
But it would be the difference between looking at a Lego version of the Titanic and then seeing the actual Titanic in person.
Okay.
Because one is like
It's
plastic
like
representation.
Like a light version.
Yeah. One's like a plastic representation. I can experience something from it. I think there's no shame in that, in saying that, like, I listened to this song and it's kind of a sad song, and like, you don't know that it's AI. But I think that it can only go as deep as the context will allow you to go. Because that's the thing about these AI songs, is there is none. There's no personal context. There's no personal story. There's nothing behind it.
That's where I was going to defend my point. And the last thing I was thinking was, it wouldn't be music in my definition, just because you can't separate music and emotion.
Right.
And AI has no emotion.
Right.
It doesn't have a context. It doesn't have anything to give any depth.
Right.
It is purely what that first definition that you read was, which is just organized noises in a pattern or in a structure, right?
Right.
And I think that's as far as AI will ever be able to go.
Right.
So To
I agree.
me, but this is according to my definition.
Right.
My definition of music is that it needs to be emotional. There has to
Mhm.
be some kind of context, some kind of
Mhm.
story behind, like, why did you make this song? Even
Mhm.
if it's just, I found I really liked the way that this song played, and I love, I wanted other people to hear it. Okay, AI will
Right.
never tell you that,
I agree, which
right?
goes really well with the fact that it's a language
Yeah.
because AI is essentially just amalgamating it's essentially looking at every single song that's been written
Mm-hmm.
and every single song that's been deemed to be a sad song, and it's
Mm-hmm.
saying here is kind of what in general, here is what a sad song sounds like.
Right.
Here's a list of like 10,000 songs that have made people sad. And so based on those 10,000 songs, here are like the 6 or 7 generic kind of like parts of a sad song.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just generates different versions of those 6 parts.
Right.
That's all it's doing, is it's just manufacturing. It's almost like if you've ever been on YouTube or like Instagram, there's always those people that make just like the trashiest content because they're really just like taking advantage of the algorithm.
Right. They're finding the
Yeah.
the hit points
Yeah,
and
it's
just
like
pushing the button a million times.
it's not content. It's not
Yeah.
content that's worth watching.
Right.
It's not content that's worth like seeing, or like it's just low effort slop.
Yeah.
But it gets engagement and it gets views because
It's just tricky enough.
it's tricking the algorithm.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of similar to how AI music works.
And I guess another way you can look at it too is it, if I played a song for you,
Mm-hmm.
you would instantly be able to tell me if it's a happy song, a sad song.
Right.
It doesn't even have to have words, right?
Mm-hmm.
A certain tones, certain type of song, you could say, well, that is a very happy song, or that's a very sad song. Now, AI can be programmed to take happy songs and say they're sad songs and put together, like, it doesn't have the emotion to say, oh, if I put a song out there that is really sad, in reality it's sad,
Mm-hmm.
but I say it's a happy song, well, you're gonna say, well, that's not very happy. It's a very sad song. You're using minor chords, which makes it a very, much sadder sounding song. Why would
Right.
you say this is a happy song?
Mm-hmm.
AI will just take that.
Mm-hmm.
It'll just say, oh, it's a sad song. It was labeled a sad song.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's missing that differentiation, that
Yeah.
human touch,
Right.
right? And that's actually what makes humans so incredible, is that even though AI can calculate things probably way faster than we ever could,
Right.
we still have the nuances that it will never have.
Yeah, I think the thing about AI that that really gets me, because I think this is the thing that bothers me, I could say, the most, because when you have AI making music, like you've just said, it doesn't know what it's making. It doesn't understand anything about the emotion that it's making. The thing is it's taking what actual artists have made
Mm-hmm.
and it's regurgitating it. Now let's think of like a different art form. Like let's think of like digital art for a second. The problem, and this is currently a problem everywhere, is that these models are being trained on different styles of artwork.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can put in a prompt and it will generate an image in someone's style of artwork that doesn't belong to you, and it doesn't belong to the people that own the AI.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd be infuriated if I was Miyazaki and everyone was just making Ghibli style
Sure.
movies
Yeah.
or Ghibli style images. And that's kind of where the problem is the way that someone, like, let's say I was an artist or a musician and I make music, but my music has a specific sound,
Mm-hmm.
it has a specific style, I perform it in a specific way, and it conveys emotions, the emotions of whatever the music is, in a very specific, personal, and relative way.
Mm-hmm.
And when people listen to my music, they have a specific experience that's different from other music that also expresses the same emotions.
Sure.
Well, if AI is being trained on my music, it's stealing that style.
Mm-hmm.
It's stealing that way of expressing emotion.
Yep.
And it's just regurgitating it into something that sounds slightly different.
Yep.
I think that's the real problem. The real problem is theft, because at the end of the day, like we've said, AI doesn't actually make music. It just regurgitates.
Right.
Like there would be There would be no way that anything AI could make you feel anything if it wasn't first produced by a human.
Right. And that's why I ask, is it original? Because
Mhm.
if AI gave me something that I had never heard with
Mhm.
no reference to any other,
Mhm.
database with something humans put in it, then I'd say, okay, it made some music, right? But it's not original. It's taking something, if I go out and I piece together a bunch of stuff that somebody else made, I could potentially get in trouble for that
Yeah.
because I'm stealing other people's work
Exactly.
and passing it off as my own.
Mm-hmm.
But the AI can do that, and people say, "Well, it's the AI made that music."
Exactly.
No, the AI didn't make that music.
No.
It took that music, altered it just a little bit, and pieced it all together and fed it back to you. So, in that sense, and in my own opinion, I don't
Right.
think AI is music. Not yet.
Yeah, and I would not agree.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say that AI music can't make you feel anything.
Oh no.
I mean, just
no,
like
I think
I
it can
would say,
rearrange things in
yeah,
a certain
I
way
would say
to
that
make
AI
you.
music can certainly make you feel things,
yeah.
and that
Yeah,
AI
yeah.
art could certainly make you feel things.
Sure.
But it's important to keep in mind that the only reason it can is because someone who's a human
Right.
did.
Someone else
That's it.
put their emotions,
Yeah.
their time, their effort into that so that you can get a fraction of what they
Yeah.
did from an AI.
Like, I love Edward Hopper. He's one of my favorite artists.
Mm-hmm.
20th century. His most famous work is Nighthawk, and it's this liminal space painting where you're standing outside and you're looking inside of this kind of soda fountain diner.
Sure.
And there's two people sitting there and then an attendant. It's a very famous painting, but I love that painting. If I go to AI and I generate a liminal style painting, I love it, not because AI made it, but because it was trained on Edward Hopper's material.
Right.
Which makes me hate it. Because I'm like, well, I'd rather have someone paint it.
Right.
Like, it's weird because, like, I feel like, and this is kind of getting a little off track, but I feel like a reaction to AI is people actually seeking out more handmade, human-made products than they ever had before.
Yeah.
Because they're realizing, wait a minute, I love liminal space paintings. I love like these kind of paintings that Edward Hopper did in his later career. I want something real. Like, I don't want some like AI fake like impression.
Right.
Like, it's
Right.
not real, and everyone knows that. Like, you can make something with AI, and everyone knows that it's not the real deal.
Right.
No one looks at it like it's a serious art piece.
Right. There's not going to be AI art pieces in art shows
Right.
in the future, right? It's so
Yeah.
silly, but
Yeah.
no, it's that's my opinion. I don't think it is yet.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, it has been a wonderful episode. Thank you for following along to everybody.
Yeah.
Nate, thanks for joining me, man, for the
Thanks for
20th
having me.
episode. It is getting late, and I have a baby at home, so I got to get home and
Yeah.
pat the baby's head and go to bed. I love her to death.
Oh, yeah.
But it's been
cute.
awesome. David, if you're watching this, you're awesome and amazing. Scan the QR code, submit another question. I'd love to meet you. Love to have you on the show. If you're watching this, maybe for the first time, maybe you've watched a couple episodes, again, please scan the QR code. I'd love to answer your questions, and I'd love to meet you even better. Leave a comment down below, and I hope that you have an awesome and wonderful Wednesday night and the rest of the week. We'll catch you next week.